All right, chapter 7, Shadows and Tall Trees. So as we begin the chapter, we remember that in chapter 6 they're going off into this hunt to see if they can find the beast. And so they're calling this the pig run, and they're following this trail. And we start first with this kind of discomfort that Ralph feel. So look at the beginning of paragraph 2. Sitting, Ralph was aware of the heat for the first time that day. It's just like he's recognizing his discomfort. And he pulled distastefully at his gray shirt and wondered whether he might undertake the adventure of washing it. Sitting under what seemed an unusual heat even for this island, Ralph planned his toilet. He would like to have a pair of scissors and cut his hair. He flung the mask back, cut this filthy hair right back to half an inch. He would like to have a bath, a proper wallow with soap. And continue. He passed his tongue experimentally over his teeth and decided that a toothbrush would come in handy too. Then there were his nails. So you kind of see how he's feeling this discomfort of being on the island for too long. If you've ever gone without a shower or a change of clothes, like I have for the military many times, gone weeks without changing my clothes and taking a shower, and it's just grody. You just feel gross and nasty, and this is what he's feeling. And it's also kind of symbolic of how he doesn't want his clothes anymore because it's so discomforting, and it's kind of that struggle between clothes, which represents this civilization, right? It's modesty, it's decorum, versus being naked. And think about the contrast between the uh, even hunters and how they're kind of more not wearing clothes and more savage-like as a result. Yet he also wants to be more civilized by, taking care of his body. And then he sees that he's been biting his nails, and he's like he can't remember when he restarted that habit, and so he's kind of going back to this childlike phase. And you can see he says, "Be sucking my thumb next," and you can see how he's potentially reverting back to this childlike lack of laws, lack of morals place, right? And as we continue, he notices how dirty the other boys are as well. And he notices that they're just, it's not like just this playful, dirty, like they've just been rolling around in the mud for a day and having fun, but they're just dirty, disgusting. And he's realizing that that's the new normal, right? Right here in this paragraph. It's a normal as now that he did not mind. And so it's kind of the life that he's been given. And he has a very interesting interchange with Simon as he's kind of having this reverie. And I love the language that Golding uses here. Wave after wave, Ralph followed the rise and fall until something of the remoteness of the sea numbed his brain. He does this multiple times this chapter, right? He's like kind of going off into this daydream. Then gradually the almost infinite size of this water forced itself on his attention. This was the divider, the barrier on the other side of the island, swathed at midday with mirage. Defended by the shield of the quiet lagoon, one might dream of rescue. But here, faced by the brute obtuseness of this ocean, the miles of division, one was clamped down, one was helpless, one was condemned. And you see him going into these thoughts that there's no more hope. And suddenly, Simon says something that really breaks Ralph out of his mind. Simon says, "You'll get back to where you came from." And Ralph, in this moment of hopelessness, of helplessness, where he sees the sea and sees it as this indomitable figure where he's going to be stuck, there's no more hope of rescue, Simon provides this word of hope that you'll get back to where you came from. And that's interesting because it's that juxtaposition of where Ralph is. And that's interesting because Ralph is supposed to be the leader. And if you think about a leader, they're supposed to be the ones who provide that hope. But here we get it from Simon. And then it kind of breaks up. And then it breaks up again. Roger breaks it up. And then one more time, Ralph goes into this daydream of a time where he's with his parents on vacation out in the this place where it's calm, it's idyllic, it's innocent, it's beautiful, and it's carefree, and he's escaping the reality of where he's at, right? He talks about the food that they eat, the books, and kind of returning back to the way things were. And look at the last sentence. Everything was all right. Everything was good humored and friendly. And then all of a sudden, the bushes crash ahead of them, and he gets snapped back out of his reverie. So that's the second time that that's happened. And the boys are wild, and there's a lot of screaming going on, and this something has come, this creature, and they first think it's the beast, but it's actually a boar. A boar comes and they almost kill it. Ralph sticks it with his spear, but it gets away free. And they're thinking we should chase it. It might be the beast, and then they kind of go into this fun little exchange where Robert, another boy, starts to chase him, snarl at the boys and at Ralph, and he's they're playing, and then they're kind of jabbing and pretending like Robert's the boar and hunting him. And then suddenly it becomes more serious. Robert, he's starting to feel real pain because they're starting to really hurt him. And the end of a spear, the butt end of a spear, hit his back, and they're actually acting like he's the real boar, and they're saying things like kill him, and then they say this thing again, which was said in the previous chapters: kill the pig, cut his throat, kill the pig, bash him in, right? And so that savagery comes back again, and this time it's to another boy, and they're getting close to actually really hurting him, and Ralph is getting in on it too. He's indulging that side of him until finally they stop, and they say it's just a game. And that's really feeding into their desire to really go for a hunt. And Jack says something really, really scary. He says, let's just use a little one next time to really kill him. And so you see that savagery and maliciousness from Jack again, right? And so as they continue on, we then see a very interesting power struggle between Ralph and Jack. Ralph, he interestingly takes time to think. So they're going through this path, and you see there's this long paragraph here that Golding writes, and it's just beautifully written because it really shows you the struggle of going through the forest and just how difficult it is. And Ralph is realizing it that they're taking too long, and they need to get back. They need to make sure that they're taking care of the little ones along with Piggy. And Ralph then takes time to think. He says, let me think. And if you recall in previous chapters, he never felt like he was a good thinker. And he always relied on Piggy. But he's now realizing that he needs to start thinking. And so he's starting to even not feel self-conscious in public thinking. And it's almost like he's playing a game of chess. He's thinking his next moves. And he's trying to channel his inner Piggy, right? But he's also recognizing that that's not his strong point. He's not really a good thinker. He's not intelligent. But he's saying that we have to go back. He's thinking that the decision should be let's go back. But Jack, in this power struggle, he's saying we need to press on. We need to go find this beast. And we see this struggle between Ralph of, hey, we need to go back, but Jack is saying, no, we need to keep going. And interestingly, Ralph says something that Piggy had mentioned before, that Jack hates Ralph and Piggy. And then Ralph says, why do you hate? It's this kind of realization that he's taking it personally, right? He's not able to see that Jack just has a different mindset, but he's taking it personally, as Piggy had mentioned. And it just gets weird, awkward. And then Jack just says, come on. And he starts taking people. And again, this exchange goes around, and there's like this machoism, right? And Jack says, who went first to Castle Rock, right? And or it was that Jack, yeah, yeah. So they're just having that power struggle of, hey, I did this, you did that, and I'm better. And there's a power struggle, and the hunters are realizing, hey, we should probably go back too, and they're gonna listen to Ralph. But then Jack, he kind of goads them on, right? He says, coming, and kind of making them like, are you gonna go? And then Ralph decides to go with them, and Roger also decides to go with them while everyone else goes back. And so they go, and again, you see the struggle, and as they're going through, Ash is getting their eyes, they're realizing how difficult it is. Ralph is saying that there might not be a beast, so what are we doing? And Ralph blames Jack. So it's all Jack's fault. And Jack continues to egg him on. Why don't you go? Are you frightened? Kind of like, are you chicken? And as they go, then they see something. Jack says he saw something, a lump, as he went on ahead. And Ralph and Roger go and they see it as well. And they see this lump. And you can see the way Ralph is feeling. He's not scared, but he's paralyzed. He can't move, and because he sees something. And it was a rock-like hump where no rock should be. And he could hear something, a little tiny chattering noise that wasn't sure if it was coming from him. But he bound himself together with his will, fused his fear and loathing into hatred, and stood up. He took 2 leaden steps forward, this heavy, difficult steps. Behind them, the silver moon had drawn clear of the horizon. Before them, something like a great ape was sitting asleep with its head between its knees. Then the wind roared in the forest. There was confusion in the darkness, and the creature lifted its head, holding toward them the ruin of a face. Ralph found himself taking giant strides among the ashes, heard other creatures crying out and leaping, and dared the impossible on the dark slope. Presently the mountain was deserted, save for the 3 abandoned sticks and the thing that bowed. And so as the boys are approaching this lumpy thing, they notice that it looks like an ape with its head between its legs, and think it only moves when the wind blows. But it shows them a ruin of a face, so something that's scary, disgusting, and so fearful that they just drop their spears and take off running. And so here very well is the beast, and it's there. They're recognizing it. In the next chapters, we'll find out what this actually is and if their fears are justified. All right?